And welcome everyone to episode 11 of Unleash the Cragle podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Cragle. I want to thank you for being here as we wind down this final week or so of 2023. I just want to say again a special thank you for those that have been listening, followed. I know that it seems like this has been a little bit sporadic. I haven't come out with as many episodes as I originally intended. I pay for, through my hosting, 12 hours of posted podcasting a month. I haven't come near that. And it's not disappointment. It's just I tried to use these few months to get a feel for really what direction I wanted and to see kind of organically how the podcast would flow, what kind of topics I might want to talk about, getting some of the interviews together. Again, special thank you to Carissa Stapp, to Jason Marlowe, and the episode you'll hear part one of today, my conversation with Justin Thompson and Erica Chapman, but his wife, and you'll hear in the course of the conversation that she is changing her name to her married name. It's just a matter of doing the paperwork. So JT and Erica Thomsen, and it was just a great conversation and really have enjoyed that. But rather than cranking out episodes needlessly, I really wanted to get a flow of where I wanted the direction of this to go. And to that end, I'll have some exciting news about that and rebranding, name change, and how 2024, I believe, will be the year of not unleashing the Cragle anymore, but a different name for the podcast. And the direction will be more firm, and I think it really will flow really nicely with how I want and how this podcast has really kind of formulated in the midst of these interviews and so forth. So stick around after the interview, about 34 minutes of interview time with them. What a fantastic chance to sit down with a great couple. If you know them, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've never met them, they're people that you can become friends with very easily, and you'll see that and hear that actually in the midst of this 35 or 34 minute conversation that we had that I'm presenting for your listening pleasure. I feel like it's sort of like a gift before Christmas to share this with all of you. And I really believe that you'll really enjoy and you'll laugh and smile. And those that are married or have very serious relationships will really enjoy that part of it. But those of us that are single or are not in relationships will really enjoy some of the funny moments that we had in the midst of this time. So thank you again so much. Without further ado, let's get to the interview. JT and Erica Thomsen. Enjoy, everybody, and stick around at the end for some exciting information about the podcast. And welcome, everybody. This is Unleash the Cragle. I am Jonathan Cragle, and today we have special guests. It's been a bit trying to get scheduling between me and them and busyness and life, but we finally pinned them down. So we have Erica and JT. We'll talk about what JT is, but we'll get to that. But Erica and JT Thomsen, people I've known for a long time, most of my fitness life, if you will, at least second life. And so I have them here today. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff: CrossFit, life, new jobs, changes, ultra running, and everything in between. So welcome, JT and Erica.
Thank you.
Okay, so right off the bat, tell me a little bit about yourselves. You can go rock, paper, scissors to decide who goes first, but just give me a little, give the listeners a little. Yep, here they go.
Rock paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. So just tell me, you can start from wherever you want. Tell me just a little about yourself.
My name is Justin Thompson, 33 years old. I coach here at CrossFit I Love It, where we're doing the podcast, which is how I know Cragle, Unleash the Cragle. I'm here with my wife, Erica Chapman. Not yet Thompson, but
Soon.
soon.
I was going to ask, but I threw that in there because I wasn't sure if you were keeping Chapman or whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
so sitting here with her.
And anyways, just about me. I coach here. I've competed in CrossFit for years. I'm kind of moving out of that phase of my life and moving into more professional opportunities and personal, like pursuing art, but still trying to maintain fitness and health and well-being and all that good stuff.
And you're originally from
Bellingham.
Bellingham.
Yeah.
You grew up here.
Yeah.
Bellingham High?
Seaholm High School.
Seaholm.
Yeah.
Was it Mariners?
Seaholm Mariners.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shout out Mariners. Let's go. Okay, and then now Erica.
I'm Erica Chapman, soon to be Thompson. Gosh darn all the paperwork. I am 30 years old, and I also coach here at CrossFit. I love it. I have been coaching here for almost 10 years now. So just about as long as the gym has been open. Competed in CrossFit early on, like back in like 2009 and 10, and back in the very old CrossFit days. And we live here in Linden. I'm originally from Burlington, so I went to Burlington Edison High School.
Which is about...
like an hour south of where we are.
Okay.
Moved up to Bellingham to go to Western, and then that's where I met Kaylee, and that's how I got out to I Love It.
Shout out Vikings.
Shout out Vikings.
Right? I gotta shout it out. So,
Yep.
so I've been doing the interviews here at CrossFit I Love It in Linden, the little gym that can, is what I call it. And yeah, I've known Erica. I actually think I'm member 24 at I Love It since January 2013.
Yep.
Back when I couldn't do a pull-up, let alone a chest-to-bar. And I met JT via Erica, who she brought him. So you guys, and we're just kind of let this kind of flow where it goes. You guys met where? At what? At an event, I believe.
At a wedding.
At a wedding.
Yes.
That you each knew what? You knew the same person, or?
So I was a bridesmaid in the wedding. So the two people that were getting married were really good friends of mine from college.
Okay.
I was a bridesmaid in the wedding, so I knew a good amount of people at the wedding.
You knew everybody.
I knew everybody. JT knew two
I
people.
knew 2 people, yeah. K-Dog and Travis. And
Yep.
my buddy Travis was invited to the wedding, and his girlfriend at the time couldn't make it, so he
You were
dragged
plus
me
one?
along. Yeah. And I was like,
Wait,
why not?
That's not a win.
Why not crash this wedding with
You
my
brought
buddy?
it to plus one and beat your wife, huh?
Yeah.
What a
It
story.
worked out really
It
well.
worked.
So hopefully your friend has been taken care of
Oh,
year
he's
after
great.
year,
He
right?
was one of my groomsmen, and
Yeah,
he got to tell the whole story. It was great.
that's funny.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he said that very shortly we realized that Justin became Erica's plus one. Switched very shortly.
And that was what year?
2016.
2016.
Yep, we are actually, today is our 7-year anniversary of dating.
Yeah, but you don't have to count that anymore. No,
Uh,
your anniversary is one. You guys got married when?
October 8th,
Good job.
Yeah.
What year?
2022. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Because I was
Last
gonna,
year.
I was,
The
that
math
was
is
my
still
question.
easy right now.
JT, what's your anniversary? And a lot of guys fumble it. They're like, when is our anniversary? So good for you.
Good job.
You get bonus points. So so you met, dated for
5 years.
Yeah,
6
we
years?
dated for five years and then got engaged.
Yeah.
And then we were engaged for a year, little over a year, and then
Yeah.
got married.
and you got married. Was it? It wasn't COVID.
No.
No.
It's a year after COVID.
Year
Or no,
after
2 years
COVID.
after.
Yeah, we got married last year, so
You
2022.
guys are just baby married.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're still honeymooning.
Still honeymooning.
Yeah, cool. Well, and you guys are coaches, so actually it's interesting. You all just finished. So you've had a full day because we did the 9 a.m. class. Erica coached it, so the 9 a.m. Saturday morning class, which I never did until this year, and now I love it. Well, I usually love it. I complained today. I did.
It was a
And-
tough one. She put
yeah,
us
she
through the
wrote
ringer.
it. So the coaches, I Love It has a great Saturday program, 9 a.m. You show up, and then after that got done, you guys immediately came up and did a 2-hour coaches
Coach meeting.
meeting.
Yep.
So shout out to to Matt and Kaylee Lovelady, who are the owners of the gym. Mainly because I was just having a chat with Matt. One thing they do so well here is not just the community, the members, but the coaches get training. The coaches get together. The coaches have these deep friendships that it's not just showing up to a workout, you're showing up to this whole thing this foundation that's been done before you even get to it. And I always appreciate it. I don't do that part of it, but I see it, so much like now, the care that's put into it. And the coach is caring in that. So shout out. So CrossFit, if you hear this podcast, you need to come do a special on I Love It and the coaches. Okay, so Erica, let's talk a little bit because you started coaching at I Love It when? 2014?
So I came over in 2014, like the fall. So like November of like 2014. I actually started as Kaylee's intern at Western. That was how I found out about her. I needed internship hours for my degree. Okay. And so I reached out to her because she did the wellness program at Western. So I was like, I'll just intern for that. And then as soon as we met, she was like, Matt and I need an intern for the gym. We need help. They had just been open for a year and there were just a lot of systems they needed help putting into place. And it was we could use another coach and stuff. So it kind of just turned into...
Because Matt was coaching pretty much
everything except the 6 a.m.s because Chris Pash was here doing those.
Right. So he was coaching the whole time. So he needed help with coaching.
Needed help with all the paperwork.
Today, if we fast forward right now, you have
almost 10. Yeah.
10 coaches.
Yep,
going.
9. We have 9. Yep.
Okay.
9
and
of them.
So you jumped in, and what I recall about it was you got in as an intern, and then you started becoming you took over as many coaching classes as you coached a lot.
Yes.
And it was good for you as a coach.
Yeah.
Good for you probably for money, but it's that's what I recall is that shift that when Matt made a transition of job, it's all of a sudden Erica's the lead coach because she was the only coach. So, yeah. And so you did that. What's the best part about, in the 10 years you've done this, 10 plus years, what's the best part of, or coming up on 10 years, I guess. But what's the best part of the coaching and what's the worst part of coaching?
It's the same answer. The people.
Yeah.
They're the best and the worst.
Yeah.
The people are so great. There's just... You'll just get a class where it's just everybody is just... all the vibes are there. Just all the vibes are there. Everybody's in a good mood. The sun is shining. The bay doors are open. It's a great workout. People are just... It's just the vibes, and you just feed off of that so much as a coach. And you have the right people, and it's so fun seeing the spectrum of CrossFit. It's so great to see somebody on their first day of their real getting into real classes after they've done intro camp, and it's they're kind of deer in headlights, oh my gosh, I'm doing this thing. But it's to see the community come around that person is awesome. And then you have all the way up to our games athletes that are in our classes, or just our really experienced members, our members that have been here for 8, 9 plus years. And it's they know exactly what we're doing. And you put all those people into one room, and it's so cool to see everybody vibing together. And then the worst part about coaching is sometimes the vibes aren't there. Yeah. Sometimes you just kind of get a down energy class.
Or you get Cragle in your class. It keeps interrupting you or complaining, pseudo-complaining. I'm not really complaining. It's just I know it'll get the coaches a little bit lit up and waking up on a 5:30 afternoon. Yeah. So,
that's the best and the worst part all at the same time.
Yeah.
Coaching itself is cool. It's a cool skill to...
it's like wrangling...
kittens.
Elementary kids.
It's pulling
or kittens.
Cats into a box.
I can't imagine because it's taking everybody about their children and trying to gather them and trying to gather all the people who haven't seen friends, for 24 hours. They want to catch up on the last 24 hours.
Yep.
Or T Swift. And Travis Kelce, you got to talk about that. Yeah. And so it's hard though because you have a limited time though in class to get what is done and move on and get people out the door and move on to the next class. And that wrangling is always funny. So
and it's so great to see all the friendships that people have made, and it is like that, where it's like, oh my gosh, like these two people, they finally got into a class together and they haven't seen each other for like months. Like their work schedules have just been off. So now it's like, we got to catch up on 3 months worth of class or like of life and work out all in an hour.
And that's usually the 9:30, if I recall right. 9:30
can be the 9:30
coffee hour or whatever.
It rolls into the evening sometimes. I feel like people kind of get thrown into the evening classes and then they get to see their friends, and it's just... It's so awesome to see that, but then at the same time, I'm like, I got stuff to get through. And like, I have things I want to say and I want to coach and I want to show you. And it's like, I can't do that if you're talking about this, but I love seeing that.
Right. Yeah. So we were talking about the best and worst. You've been coaching, you started coaching here when?
2018.
Okay.
So I started in 2016 at Colson CrossFit. Uh-huh. Met her, came over in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So your CrossFit journey, because hers started, 10 years ago. Yours started in 2016?
Yes.
Is that when you first were introduced to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you learn about CrossFit?
I had known it was around for a few years. Like, I had friends who did it, and I was always kind of like, I could totally do that on my own and just get just as fit. And then I learned very quickly. My buddy Justin Santos, shout out. Yeah. He was coaching at Colson at the time, and he couldn't get me to come into a class, but we were going to hang out one evening, and he's like, all right, man, I'm just closing up shop. You should just come meet me here. And I got there, and he had all this stuff like set up for a workout, and he's like, all right, you're doing a workout.
Perfect.
And I did it.
All right.
I did it. It was tough, but I loved it. Yeah.
Do you remember the workout?
I think he had me do like some box jumps. I think there was a barbell involved, and then like a sandbag run.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you weren't a runner back then like you are now.
No, I was very out of shape.
Yeah.
I thought I was fit, but I was really...
Do you recall your first workout?
Karen.
It
was Karen, and then rest 5 minutes and run a mile for time. And I cried the whole time. I was 15. I was 15 when I started CrossFit, and my sister, I got cut from my sophomore year basketball team in high school.
Okay.
And my sister was like, I found this thing, you should come try it with me.
Wow.
And I did, and I cried the entire first class. I think I got through like 30 wall balls without crying. And I remember I did it to like an 8-foot line with like a 6-pound med ball. I squatted to a med ball.
Yeah.
And like, I just cried. And then Sam was like, okay, like we're resting now, and then we're going to go run a mile. And I was literally running just like, just like bawling my eyes out. And then she like dropped me off back at home, and she was like, I'll pick you up tomorrow at 4. And I was like, okay. So I've done CrossFit for almost 17 years, almost 16 years now. Yeah.
So what is your best and worst about coaching?
Best and worst?
Yeah. So we're chatting a little bit about that.
Best about it, and what's the worst thing about it?
Man. The best thing is to help people and watch them become inspired and then start to get better and, just grow in that way. And you get to share all this experience and knowledge with them. And that's by far the best part.
It doesn't have to be terrible worse, but you have to have something at times where you're like,
that's easy. It's repeating myself to people. It's my biggest pet peeve. If I have to say something more than 3 times, I'm furious. Not furious. Okay. I'll say it again, but I don't want to.
Shout out, I Love It members. Listen when the coaches are talking. That includes me, Even though I read the workouts ahead of time at every point I post them, but you still respect, but and you're not you're not the boisterous type who's going to get in people's face. No. But if you don't know JT, he's is a good lead-in. He's not a burly guy, but he's a guy that you wouldn't necessarily look at and go, I want to mess with this guy. But I mean, when you see him, but then you talk to him, you're like, I could take him, but I really couldn't take him because he's the nicest, strong dude you'll meet. So, which actually leads to a quick question. We're going to bounce off for a second. We'll come back and that. So you were a former national or world record holder?
Oh yeah, world record holder.
Powerlifting?
Powerlifting, yeah.
Yeah. In high school?
I had just graduated high school. I was in my first year of college. I was 19 years old, and I was trained for my first powerlifting meet. And my buddy, my best friend DJ, his dad was a powerlifter back in the 70s, and so he trained me for this thing. And yeah, it was the world record back squat for 19-year-olds, drug tested raw, which means you don't use any reinforced stitching clothing.
You can use knee sleeves to 7 millimeter, or is
I
it
forget
completely?
what the standard
I thought
was.
raw was you couldn't use anything.
You could use knee sleeve. I remember I had wraps
Had some
around
wraps.
my knees.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that was an interesting
You
experience.
remember what you squatted?
565.
Okay,
Yeah.
565 back squat
Yes.
as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow. And you were drug tested for it, so
I
you weren't
was,
all
yeah.
amped up on stuff. Yeah. Looking at you, I can tell, because if you were amped up, you'd be you'd be gigantic. You literally wouldn't fit through the doorways here. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, and that's what's so funny is you were strong, but the CrossFit journey, you found fitness.
Yes.
So you found, I mean, where you were, and both of you, where you were before you started CrossFit, you were athletes. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of come in and you find out there's not just specialties, but there's some fitness that goes into, that relates to sport, but it's beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Like your lung capacity and aerobic capacity and strength, but functional strength.
Gymnastics, monostructural, all kinds of it's.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's been a great journey. Let's see. We talked about who you are. We talked about let's talk about we were just talking before the podcast. I know them when they were doing other jobs, but let's forget all that. What you were doing. What are you doing now? Rock, paper, scissors, JT.
Right now, I actually just got a job with UPS, so I'm signing on as a seasonal delivery driver, and I'm hoping to make it into the career side. It's a great company, and they pay really well.
And you look good in brown?
Oh,
yes.
yeah. That's what I got married in.
That's what he got married in.
Good.
That was his
That's
suit color.
coming from his wife. It's good, it's good in anything.
Anything.
But brown. Yeah.
I'm excited, and it's going to allow me to keep, coming to the gym regularly, pursue my art, and pay the bills.
Yeah. Well, and so UPS, and you're going at the right time, because you're going to be working like crazy with all the deliveries that will be coming with the holidays and stuff.
Peak season.
So that's very cool. And then you also, we're going to talk more about this, but you also started a new endeavor. Yeah. Not a new endeavor, but a business endeavor called
JT Fine Art.
We have
so many things.
It is funny. They have so many things. So JT Fine Art.
JT Fine Art. Yeah, I went to school for art and painting and drawing and art history, and when I found CrossFit, I got so obsessed with it. I kind of forgot all about art, which is, I'm not upset about that. I'm glad I got to do CrossFit the way I did, but I picked it up in this last year, and I
found you renewed the love for what you did.
I never really tried watercolor, and I've always wanted to, and I've just been slowly doing more and more paintings,
which is surprising, because when you posted the first painting, I thought, well, that's a cool one. I wonder where he bought that. Because you can never imagine. Again, the listeners who don't know JT, you look at him, you think, this is not a guy who
does art.
No, he doesn't strike you as an artist.
Not one person
who
has
holds
thought
dainty
that
little
about me.
paintbrushes and wee.
So imagine that Bob Ross has no afro. He's good looking. He's strong. He's got functional fitness, and that's JT. So it's been going good, actually, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you sold your first commissioned painting to a unbelievable person.
Oh yes.
That would be me.
Unleash the Cragle. It's going to be worth a lot one day. I hope.
Anybody who wants the very first commissioned painting by JT, $15,000 now. So it was very cool to see, and very fun to see. So I'll post the links, and we can talk more about this and such. Erica, and then we'll come back to, but Erica,
Okay.
you're doing what now?
I work at Van Wingerden's, which is a plant nursery out in
And
Blaine.
say it again for our listeners.
Van Wingerden's.
And is that a Dutch?
That's a very Dutch name,
That
right
is a
there.
Dutch name.
So I work in the garden center. So at Van Wingerden's, we call it VW's.
Okay.
It has the garden center side, and then it has the wholesale side.
Okay.
We have right now we currently have 300,000 poinsettias growing.
Wow.
So that just gives you an idea of the size of it. We have 4 different greenhouses, and I am what we call our product manager. So my responsibility there is managing the floor where all the flowers go, and going out in the morning and looking and being okay, this table's empty, we need this, and this, and then going out to all the greenhouses, hand picking all the product and bringing it in.
Okay.
So that's what I do out there, and then I coach here, and then
How many days a week do you coach still?
2. Right now, I'm just coaching 4 classes a week, so normally 6 a.m. on Fridays, and then I coach an evening, which has turned out to be Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then during the summer, we have SEAL team. So we own a concrete protection and restoration business also, because my job's VW's is very seasonal. June, July, August are the slowest months for a flower store.
Right.
So yeah.
And so, and with that, you prep and seal
Concrete.
all
Outdoor
just
concrete
outdoor
specifically.
concrete. Okay.
Yep. We're
And
trying
you
to
guys
move into
and
the indoor
that's part of the
scene.
reason why it took so long to get them. I've been trying for, I think, 6 weeks to get you guys, and maybe even before that, to get you on the podcast because just busy. And and you got to get it now because the first colds have just hit. 27 degrees last night, 28 the night before. So, those who don't think it gets cold in Western Washington, it's coming, or it's here. So that's very cool. And you guys started that company, kind of an offshoot. You were working for...
We're working for Greg.
One of our members, again, how close everything is. So Greg Blankers, and you worked for him, and then...
For 3 years. And then Greg actually was the one that encouraged us to go out on our own.
I mean, the story goes, sorry, Greg, but what I heard was you can either start your own business or I'm going to fire you.
He said that we would be foolish to continue to work for him when we could start our own thing and get paid more for exactly what we were doing. Because we were good enough at it. We are good enough at it.
Yeah.
And he was like, you guys deserve to be compensated more.
Earn the money for it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice flow because with your seasonal and then Seal Fit and you can always, I have no doubt that Kaylee and Matt would be happy for you to bounce into extra coaching if you needed it here and there. And with JT, with UPS, hopefully that works out. Good thoughts.
Yes.
With that. But the other thing that strikes me as I've known you guys is one, you guys are what would I say? Not diametrically opposed, not opposed, but opposites. Like, Erica's very outgoing, and JT is as quiet as can be. And he's drawn out more since you've known each other, since I've observed you guys. And Erica can have her quiet times. Unless Taylor Swift and Carrie are around.
Then there's no chance.
There's no chance.
There's no chance.
But it's really funny to watch you guys because you guys have such an interesting... I always observe. I'm divorced, but I observe relationships and I observe people and how they interact. And I see the interactions between you two, and even Mitch and Kaylee, or Mitch and Carrie, and Matt and Kaylee, and you see these people who are opposites. And I'm a believer of that. My kid's mom, my previous wife or ex-wife. I hate that term, but whatever term you want to use, we are opposites too. And I think opposites sharpen each other like iron sharpens iron. Yes. You need that because if you have the same exact person, you can't really grow.
You both stay the same.
You have no opposites, and all you'll do is stagnate. So what? I'm going to ask this one. What's the best thing about JT, and the thing that just still irritates you? And then JT, you'll get
spicing it up.
You'll get first dibs. So
the best thing about him is that he's like an onion, and not just for sometimes how he smells, but there's so much more to him, and there are so few people that get to see all of those layers, completely taken down. And I feel like that was like every year that we've been together, it's like there's still more in there. And it's like when we go to like family things and he's with his sister and his mom, or when I see him with like his best friend DJ, it's like there's this truest form of his self, but he reserves that for very few. And I think that's really special. And I just think it's very unique, and it's like, it makes me feel very like grateful that I get to see that, and I get to be with that for the rest of my life. So it's like, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. And now you're not going to get out of it.
Oh,
the thing that
the
irritates
worst
you
thing.
still, or you... Because it's growth, right?
Yeah. You can be cranky in the morning.
Yeah.
The cranky mornings are, it puts me in a bad mood when I wake up, and then we get into a fight, and I'm like, you were cranky.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to deny that.
But the,
Really bad in the morning.
but the awareness of it, I think, I look at it as, if you're aware of it, it's not that it's going to drastically change.
Totally.
He's probably been a cranky pants. You could talk to his mom. He's probably been a cranky pants his whole life.
His teacher said it about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's okay. Sometimes the quiet ones are the crankiest. You know?
They are, and you don't turn the bathroom fan on.
But that's
sometimes.
again, that's one of those things. With the special Cragle coffee, maybe that'll change, and we'll hook you up with more.
There you go.
Okay, full chance now, JT. The best thing about Erica, and it's okay. I got your back.
Okay.
The best thing about Erica.
Best thing about Erica, which is also kind of the worst thing. So maybe in two birds with one stone here, but she's the most selfless person I've ever met, to a fault sometimes. Like, she will sacrifice her own, time, well-being, money. It doesn't matter. She wants other people to be happy and to show them love and take care of them, and it's amazing. And I think that was one of the things that really drew me to her when we first met. But then it's like we're trying to train her to be selfish sometimes with her time and
stop people pleasing and draw boundaries, and it's very it's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, I hear, and it's so interesting when I've chatted. You're in my third interview, but the same exact thing, that change, that evolution of us as people. And that's where I think the relationship part, if you were left alone and hadn't met, where would you be?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what's so amazing to me that draws out is your awareness early in your marriage and at your age, 30? Mm-hmm. You guys are 30.
33,
You're babies.
Yeah.
You're babies, right? And you haven't had any, not that you haven't had traumatic events in your life, but you've not had any traumatic events that have led you to this. It sort of happened already in the beginning of your marriage, which is amazing to have that awareness and keeping that, because you can work on it. Yes, you should be selfish, but it doesn't mean you're selfish to a out of balance. That there's a balance to giving. The world needs more giving, but if only a few give everything, and others don't,
take.
Right? And I think that's I sort of learned the same thing that for me, the same exact thing so that awareness is good, and you have a partner that if he's cranky, it might not be as cranky. It might be trying to say to you, hey, time. And like we have, today, I can guarantee we're going to have to do another podcast down the line, because we're not going to get to the questions I want, because we're just having a good conversation. But
I know, I'm really enjoying it.
At 2 o'clock, you guys are out of here because you got events and we got to go. But
we can go a little longer.
We can go longer. Yeah, we'll be fine.
We're good.
20 minutes.
Don't worry about it.
15
we
minutes.
We can go another 30.
15. Okay.
Let's just enjoy this.
Cool.
Yes.
So then, okay, so we'll go the more gentle one. If you had somebody come up to you, a young person at the gym, and say, what is the one life lesson you've learned to now, whether it's you do this differently, or the one life lesson that you would say you need to do this? I'll give you two. You get two things. Somebody walks up and says, I see you as an older, CrossFitter, older person. What's life advice? I'm a 17-year-old kid going out of high school. What would you say to your 17-year-old self?
Like just in regards to CrossFit
No.
or like in life?
In life. Just, it can be whatever comes to mind to you. Two things that you would, somebody says, what would you say to your 17-year-old self? But what would you say to them that I could take as knowledge for myself being a 17-year-old? Mm-hmm. And you can think for a second about it, but it should be something that just pops into your mind, right?
I think I would tell them to be patient and wise. Like, just like, you are only 17. Like, the really big things you want to do in your life. Be patient for those and know that they're a journey. Like, they're a long journey. But also have the wisdom to know when to take opportunities as they come. And on that wisdom, like, trust yourself in it. Like, I think back to being 17 and caring so much about what other people thought I was doing. And I remember choosing things and being like, I don't really want to do that, but they would really like it if I did it. Selfless thing and people pleasing. But I wasn't doing what I actually wanted to do. And I didn't trust my own wisdom and my own instincts in that. So I'd tell them to be patient and wise. And just know that the really big things you want in life, like getting married and having kids, like that will come, but like you're only in your early 20s once. And if you're in college, you're probably never going to live in a house with a bunch of your girlfriends or a bunch of your guy friends, like, ever again. And enjoy that. Don't sacrifice that because you want to rush into getting married or you want to rush into getting, like, a job. But also be wise to know that if opportunities arise that you need to take or you want to take, like, do that. And trust yourself in that. Yeah.
That's really good. Boy, tough act to follow.
No, I was thinking something very similar. Like, the whole idea of, like, not, do what feels right to you, like I've had so many experiences where somebody told me, you should do this, you should try this, because you'd be really good at it and you'd enjoy it. And I give it a try, and I'm like, oh man, I must be doing this wrong. I'm going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. It takes forever before I realize, like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this thing.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's like people say that about, like, you should play football. I hated football in high school. I'd rather do art, but nobody wants me to be the art guy. So I listened to that, and I could have made so much good art in those years, but I just didn't listen to what felt right to me. So
but you're patient with the fact that you are so young. I mean, I'm coming up on 59. And I look back and think, man, what would I, forget the 17-year-old, what would I tell the 30-year-old,
No.
And I think you go through that, and I think that's, I guess that's what I would say is, to whatever age is, evaluate. Constantly be evaluating where you are. Are you true to yourself?
Yeah.
Are you true to what your values are? How much have you changed? Good or bad, and correct the one and keep going doing the other. But I think that's the other part is there are certain things, even as a father now with grandkids, it's like I had athletic kids. Well, every one of them should have played football, but a couple of them just said, no, I'm not playing football. I'll be a soccer player. And it was kind of that aspect of my urge was to push football, but it was, let's let them do what they enjoy. Yes. And it's good for them to have done that. So that's very cool. Yeah. So if you're a 17-year-old, listen to JT and Erica. Good wisdom from that, right? And you'll have more of that as you go.
And there you have it. And I realize it cut off and trying to find a cutoff point because of how you could tell we were having such a great time chatting with one another. Thank you again so much for JT and Erica taking the time on a very busy Saturday that they had to spend time with me and just have a nice conversation. There is part 2 that I will be releasing after Christmas and before the new year, so you'll want to check that out. The conversation just continued on with other just really fantastic back and forth interactions between us, and the hour and 20 minutes that we spent wasn't nearly enough time, so we'll definitely have them back on to even have more conversations and so forth. And to that end, the news I was talking about when I started this episode,
Unleash the Cragle is what I originally intended, and I thought, it would be a play on words for the Lego movie Unleash the Cragle and so forth. But I also wanted to take the time with these first episodes to get kind of a feel and a flow of direction that I wanted the podcast to go, of how it would just kind of speak to what it would be and what it should be. And as I did the interview with Eric and JT and was editing it and thinking more about it, it just really occurred that the natural flow of this, rather than trying to create something, I'm a believer as a writer that the direction of a book or podcast will speak to you. It will come to you. It will come organically to you, and the direction, unless you choose not to follow it, will present itself at some point. And I believe that happened here in the last couple of weeks, where it became very apparent as I listened back to episodes, thought about the direction I wanted this to go, and the way that it actually did present itself, that instead of Unleash the Cragle, which sounds very controversial or very like in your face, instead it really became apparent that it was conversations that I was having with people, whether it was me speaking one-on-one with you alone or interviewing people. And so to that end, I'm rebranding and changing the name of this from Unleash the Cragle to Conversations with Cragle. And so you'll see a new social media setup and so forth for that, some rebranding and some other things that will be coming down the line here in the coming year. And so for now, we can keep it as Unleash the Cragle, but anticipate seeing a new name and so forth, Conversations with Cragle. And I hope that will be more in line with what the direction I want this to be, that we have a conversation, you and I as the listener, but also you hear the interviews and the conversations that we're having with one another. And so I'm excited about this. I really feel like that will allow me to really present probably my goal is to have about 12 hours of content per month. Starting January 2nd will be the first episode, and it will be consistently coming out that way. I'm also planning on posting the episodes up on my YouTube page. That will again change from Unleash the Cragle to Conversations with Cragle, or in essence to that effect. So we'll be looking for links for that also. Again, I'm really excited about this, and I know that there are a lot of great interviews I have ahead, a lot of people I'm going to be contacting or have already lined up time with. But again, for my first guests, Carissa Stapp, Jason Marlowe, and JT and Erica Thomsen, thank you so much for being vulnerable, being able to just sit with me, have a good conversation after a Saturday morning workout at CrossFit. I love it. And I really hope you as a listener really enjoyed learning about and hearing from these fantastic folks. I'm looking forward to 2024. But we do have Christmas is going to be coming up here in the next few days. Just wanted to say to you, take the time to not just get busy or stressed out with all the celebrations and so forth, but also give yourself the gift of peace, of kindness, of forgiveness to those that need forgiveness from you, and allow yourself to be forgiven by those, whether they say it or not, for mistakes that you may have made this year or so forth. It's so easy to get caught up in celebrating for a day and then going right back to the way it was previously. And I really hope, and my wish for you is that you'll be able to have joy and have peace and patience and kindness and just the love of family and friends that will then carry you forth each day,
each week and throughout the coming year. If you have a chance, be sure to be kind to others, whether you know them or not. For family and friends, use every opportunity to tell them how much you love them, how much you care for them, how much you need them. 2023 for me, I can do a year in review, and I think I'll do an episode to start 2024 about that. But it's been a year of joy. 4 new grandchildren born, 2 twins born to my nephew and his wife. We also had some tragedy, loss of my son from a very sudden death in March, and loss of my daughter-in-law's mom quite suddenly also this year. And so, like normal, there's joy, there's heartache, but we take care of one another and take care of ourselves. So thank you again for listening. I pray you have a wonderful celebration with family and friends. Merry Christmas. And I look forward to chatting with you again after Christmas. I will release part 2 of the interview that you just heard with JT and Erica. Again, thank you so much for spending time with me and the conversations with Cragle. Take care all. Merry Christmas.